Welcome to Caching Waves. This is an Elliott Wave update for JASMY. Now, before I get into this chart, I need to make one thing clear. If Bitcoin happens to fall and JASMY follows, the most difficult area was this low. It's hard to know which pivot to take the low from. The best way I have it is with a truncation, if a low is in, and starting from this pivot here. But if Bitcoin happens to crash, we get one of the bearish scenarios, I would count this as an A, B, C. Either most likely a zigzag. We just got quite extended. We didn't hit the 2.618 extension yet, but pretty close. Pretty close. You can see we just came shy of that, which is about the most extreme you ever want to see a zigzag. So if this happens to fail, my expectation would be a new low. Right now, for the bullish scenario, I'm counting this as a truncation and starting our low from 0.296 cents. So I just want to make that very clear. If we start collapsing, my alternative is that's a C wave high. All right, now getting that out of the way, from the significant low, have a wave 1. Wave 2 came between the 50 and the 618, most likely area for a wave 2. Wave 3 got extended. This is past the 1.618 extension. I'll show you that in a minute. Our wave 4 came into the ideal area between the 236 and the 382, and our fifth wave did hit the 1-to-1 extension of wave 1 off of wave 4 right here. So very nice impulse off this low. You can see we just came past the 1.618 extension. One of the nicest impulses I've seen in the entire market, as long as this is a wave 1 and 2. You can see our peak RSI is in our third of the third with the most volume. So everything looks good. Now zooming to the 4 hour, excuse the color change. I just do it from hour to hour. Off this 5-wave move, this makes a larger wave 1. So a larger version of this. And after our correction, like this smaller wave 2, we're looking for a huge third wave well above this 5-wave move. Now, rough areas of that, if we actually do come between the 50 and the 618, is usually the negative 100, which is 100% on top, around 67 cents. I'll take that with a grain of salt. That's calculating basically the perfect pivot. Nothing ever ends up being perfect, but that's just a rough idea. I'm not calling for that, just saying if this is a wave 1 and 2, that's the likely area we go. Now, I've had to relabel this. I think last video, we saw this as a flat, looking for the move down here before a pivot to the upside. Clearly that didn't happen with that sell-off in Bitcoin, so we have to adjust our count. Now, I have switched this to a impulse. It doesn't follow guidelines the way I would like. We have a wave 1 and 2. Our third wave is longer than our wave 1. Our wave 4 as a triangle did not overlap wave 1, and then we got our fifth wave down. So we didn't invalidate any rules. I'll give it, we didn't hit ideal fib extensions. No rules broken. It does look best as an impulse based on the reaction we had. I also put on our pitchfork from the beginning of wave A, off of wave A, off of wave B is our 3 pivots. And this is a modified pitchfork, which is the exact same thing as a channel. Okay. This is a WXY, most likely a double zigzag. This structure was very difficult. This is a clear zigzag to me, so this is something more complex. The issue with this, why I wasn't really looking for it, is usually we want at least a 618 extension of this W for our X for our Y, or for an ABC. As you can see, we only hit that on linear scale. We did technically meet the minimum requirement, but it was on linear scale, which I don't really go with that for high probability. Nonetheless, we did make a WXY, most likely our B wave. You can see we hit basically perfect at the 618 retracement of the A wave. Looks like it was even golden zone. I use 6.6. I know some people use 6.5, but looks like golden zone trade would have worked if you put your stop at the 6.6 as a short. Nice looking trade. Okay, so where does that put us now? We're looking for some sort of C wave, right? And you'd say, is that complete? Is that a C wave? It's a very tough wave to count. I can count it both ways. Unfortunately, that happens sometimes. But when this happens, I usually tend towards guidelines. What are our guidelines for a C wave? First guideline, we want to hit the 100% extension of A off of B, which is actually down here at 1.441 cents. So we're not there yet. We have met the minimum requirement, the 618, but we're not there yet. So that's one negative that the C wave is complete, right? What else do we look for? We look for equality in time, right? We look for our A wave off the B wave to be at least 100% in time as well to get the right look. Now, this isn't a rule, it's a guideline, but it works most of the time, right? And that has us right here at the bottom end of this pitchfork at the 100% around August 26th. So that's two negatives that our C wave is not yet complete in this scenario. Now, if we came to the 618, but we took a lot of time and we did reach the 1-to-1, I'd be looking at this structure differently, right? So just one thing to keep in mind there. Now, another option available is, again, this can be a 3 or a 5. We could end up making some sort of diagonal here. Something like this. Not ideal either. But what I can see happening here, based on the rest of the market, is probably, this is just going off experience, probably this is some sort of B wave. And this gets extended over as a flat. Could make some sort of diagonal here. I'm not sure yet. We'll have to follow the waves and let them play out. And then we start our 5-wave move for our C. So we have our B zone, which I will put up for you here. Where's the 1.618? There it is. And you can see we are right in that zone. Invalidation of this is actually past our one-to-one extension of A wave for our C wave target there at 1.4 cents. So if we come down, I'd be more likely to call it a C wave. But if we hold this level and start moving to the upside, I'd be looking for the one-to-one extension of this. This would become an A wave as a complex correction, WXY. And we'd be looking for most likely a diagonal here for a C wave in a flat. And this all becomes an A, B, C. And then we come down for our 5 waves. So we'll see if we come up here. That 1-to-1 is at 2.752 cents. It is past the 618 retracement of this last move. But this is what I would look for if we do come up past the 786. I'd be looking for this as a flat or a double or a combination as a WXY, right? If we just get 3 waves. But either way, not at the 100% in price or time. This is kind of the zone we'd like to be at right here. It does not look complete to me. We can be completed our B wave, working on our C wave, or still within our larger B wave and then come down for our C wave. This is why I discussed so many times why the B wave area in a larger correction is so difficult to trade in. There's no high probability setups other than targeting just one-to-ones, right? You see an A wave like this in a triangle, okay, like in this zone, I'll take the one-to-one. Boom, hit, right? We saw this as potentially an A and a B, looking for that move before. Just target the one-to-one, right? Take your profit. Wait to see what happens at that point. So this is the area where if we do come up, I would be looking for this move right here before continuation. Now, to be clear, I am bullish on JASMY. It's a beautiful impulse. It really is. Just not at this price point. Remember, our wave 2s come between the 382 and the 786. That's our most common area, right? And in time, I also took the extension of this wave. In time, we haven't even hit the 30% in time. We usually look between the 618 in time, just a guideline, and the one-to-one. It's all the way over here, right? So this could eat up quite a bit of time. Now, if something changes and we do start to get bullish, I will address that, but there's nothing here currently to show a bottom in. All right, guys, I wish I had better news for you, but that's kind of how it is. All right, guys, that's it for JASMY. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.